Hi, welcome to Naked Face Confessions, where we try to live authentically who we are and where we are and encourage each other in the process as we walk that path together. If you're new, let me introduce myself briefly. I'm Molly, and I am a single mom of three kids, kind of recently divorced within the last couple of years. Was in real estate for about 9 years, left, went into banking for four, come back into real estate in the last 4 months and trying to relaunch a business in the midst of a pandemic, which is, super easy feat to accomplish. Grew up, was a preacher's kid, went to college, married a guy that became a preacher as well. So I've kind of been, something to lots of preachers throughout the entirety of my life. So strongly identify with that role in many, many ways. But, you know, that is not who I am. But I think a lot of you probably didn't even bat an eye at that kind of an introduction because that's what we do. We identify ourselves with the roles that we play or the relationships we are with other people. And honestly, I think online dating profiles are probably a better description of who we are than that. Yes, I did a small stint on a dating website for like a month right after my divorce. Like rip off the band-aid, get back into it kind of a situation, and how things are different. Like last time I dated, it was like 1990 and super naive Christian girl dating like super conservative boys who sent flowers when they were interested in you, But like now, uh, guys don't send flowers anymore. They like send something totally different. Totally different. Anyway, I know lots of women in lots of different walks of life, and across the board, like high level executive women, moms, wives, teachers, waitresses. And I think in many, many cases, these women have lost who they are. They don't know who they are, and they've stopped living inside that authentic version of themselves. And when I was about probably mid 30s, I began this process, or a process began happening to me where a lot of the things that and ways that I identified myself were stripped away. Just slowly over time, there was like the stripping process that happened. I mean, I loved music, was involved in music and passionate about music my entire life. And then, life happens and things happen where that role and that activity was stripped out of my life. When I got a divorce, that strong identity as being a preacher's wife and being a wife, that was stripped away. And I was diagnosed with epilepsy. And so that being physically fit and healthy and confident in that way, that got stripped away. And when leaving ministry and watching some of the things that happened within the church and just really struggling with my own faith and my own doubts, that strong identification with being a person of faith and being solid in who I identified myself with in that way, that was stripped. And it was this painful, painful process of all those things being ripped away and the rug getting pulled out from underneath me. And I was a blank slate. I was a faceless, identityless person for a really long time. And during that time of, searching in my faith a lot of ways and just trying to rediscover, like, who am I? Who am I? Like, even beyond just being a mom, and I was terrified, like, is that going to be stripped from me as well, my role as a mom? And during that time I came across a verse, or a verse was given to me, and it's Zephaniah 3:17, and it reads, "For the Lord your God is among you, he is with you, and he is mighty to save. He will take great delight in you. With his love he will rejoice over you with singing, and he will calm all of your fears." And that verse brought up an image for me, that he will delight over me with singing. There was a time that this image came to me like immediately when I read that, but there was a moment in our past where Addie, my daughter, was like probably 2 or 3 years old, probably three, and her dad like scooped her up in his arms and was kind of dancing around the kitchen with her above his head, and he was singing "You Are So Beautiful to Me" in his horrible singing voice. But Addie was looking down at him with like these super tender eyes that were like glistening because she was looking at her dad and her little hands were on his cheeks. And it was just this intimate moment between the two of them, and God was saying to me in that image and in that memory that I love you just because of who you are. That's it. There's no strings attached. It's just who you are and right where you are. Not because of what you do, not because of who you are to other people, but just because you are mine. And I think he gets so much delight and joy when we live in who we are and the things that he made us good at and we were gifted with. I mean, some of you know that I love to take my dog out for walks. Winnie, we go out into the forest preserve and I let her off leash and she like runs. And it is one of my favorite things in the world to do because I get to see her do what she was made to do. She runs after the birds and it's just sheer delight for her to be able to live in exactly what she was made to be. And I get so much delight out of watching her do it because I know that's how I am at my best, is when I'm living and doing those things that I was made to do and are true to who I am, even in the quirks and nuances of my personality that may be annoying to other people and may be frustrating or whatever, seems silly. But those are the moments when I'm being myself. It just reminds me of like Jessica Day on New Girl. Like I love, love, love quirky characters on TV. I mean, Lorelai on Gilmore Girls, or the role that Steve Carell plays on The Office. Like I love the quirky characters because they're just being who they are and they're comfortable there. They stay there and everybody around them. It's just an endearing quality when those people know who they are and they sit in it and they own it and they don't really apologize for it. I think that's what is valuable. And I think that's what God loves about us when we are there. And even if you're not a person of faith, I think you're at your best when you're authentic and true and honest with yourself as to who you are, and you're giving yourself freedom to just be that way, to not fit into a role, not fit into a specific relationship, but to own and have the freedom to live in who you are. And I think probably a lot of us as women, especially as women, is we are like, okay, I don't even know who that is anymore. Like, who am I? Like, I've been so lost for all of these years that I can't even tell you who I am. I can't even tell you what eggs I like or what music I even like because I've compromised, or I fit into this role of liking whatever they like, or don't want to fight that battle, just kind of meld into the woodwork and keep the peace. So if you're kind of one of those people, I went through some of these questions and let me read them off to you. Some things that might help you remember or re-identify with maybe who you are. First one is, what makes you envious in other people's lives? Like, what is it that somebody else does that makes you envious? It makes you think, man, I wish I had that. I wish I could do that. What makes you envious? Second thing is, what has been a long time dream for you? Like since your youth, what is it that you just love doing and wanted to make your life's career, but life happened. Like what was that passion even back then that still stirs you up inside? Next one, if you had an extra 2 hours in the day to do absolutely anything you wanted after a nap, after the spa treatment, what would you do? Like, what would it be? Are you a reader? Are you a musician? Are you a cook? Are you a hostess? Are you a gardener? What is it that you love to do that's who you are and you're good at that you would spend time doing with no one paying you? You wake up in the morning and you're excited to do it. What is that thing? Another thing that you can do or think about is what kind of makes you giggle inside. Like it's your own little inside joke about yourself that when you do it, you just kind of like crack yourself up, and maybe those that are close to you, they giggle too. For me, my kids laugh at me constantly, and I know I do it, and I giggle at myself, but I can watch 100 episodes of New Girl or The Office, and I may have seen that episode 5 times, but every time I laugh at the same joke like it's new, like I have no idea that it's coming. Most of the time I don't, because I don't remember that I actually saw it. And that's another funny thing. They're like, Mom, you've seen this. I'm like, no, I haven't. This is the first time I've seen this one. Like, no, you've seen this like 5 times. What are those things that are quirky about you that, make you giggle about yourself inside? I don't know. Another really helpful thing, I'm not sure if you've heard of an Enneagram or not, but it's not a personality test. It's kind of a test that tells you maybe what drives you, like things that were happened to you maybe in your past or were told to you in your past that formed some kind of motivation or purpose or drive in you, or that affects the decisions that you make. Like the Enneagram's super helpful. So that might be something that, helps you get to know yourself a little bit better as well, other than like outside all those personality tests we take at work or whatever that is that we do. But the point I really, really want to get to across to you guys is you are unique. You are unique and valuable because of the combination of your past and your personality and your passions and even the mistakes that you made. All of those things are woven together to make you the unique version of you that nobody else can play. No one else can be the mom to your kids. No one else can be that friend to your posse or your group. No one else can be the partner or the spouse to your partner or spouse. Like that's the only role that you can play. And what breaks my heart when I think about myself when I'm not living true to who I am is that my kids are missing the best part of me. My spouse was missing the best part of me because I was living a role and not who I was. My kids didn't get to see me with doing something that makes my eyes glimmer or makes me do it with passion. And I've robbed them of that. You're robbing them of that. Give yourself the freedom and the permission and take the time to figure out, who are you? And give yourself the permission to live there, because that is what is valuable about you. That is what is unique. That's what is going to draw the crowd to pay the big money to see that particular character, read that character in that book of your life, whatever it is. Give yourself freedom to live authentically in that place, because it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do because we don't do it. We get lost and we don't live in that place anymore. You're not what you do, and you're not the role that you play. So here's the challenge. The next time you introduce yourself to someone or someone else introduces you, rather than listing off your resume, give them your dating profile. I mean, can you imagine? Hi, I'm Molly Jones. I'm a dancer. I love red wine. I like tea. I prefer the mountains over the beach. I'm a female looking for a male. Like, can you imagine the look on people's faces as they're like, what the heck just happened? Like, they're expecting your resume and you totally come out. I'm kidding. Kind of. If you do that, please tell me. Like, Facebook me, DM me, something, because I want to hear the end of that story. All kidding aside, you are valuable in uniquely who you are. And I desire, through this process of walking through these videos with you, for us to get comfortable in that space, to give ourselves permission to be ruthlessly authentic to who we are and without apology. And it may shock people. It may disturb people for a while. They may not be happy and feel, betrayed for a bit. But the only way you can truly, truly live is to admit to who you are and be that person. You're not living. You're not living. Your role is being accomplished. Your relationships, the role you play in those relationships is being performed, but you are not living because you are non-existent. You're non-existent. I'm thankful you guys came and listened. It's a longer video than we've done in the past, but this is probably going to be more the format. Once a week, I'll meet you here in my office, or sometimes in my living room, maybe outside. There may be a glass of tea. There may be a glass of wine. Who knows? But thanks for coming. I hope we get to do this again together maybe next week. Have a great day.